Hi there, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do another patch and it's going to be a police shield, and we're going to, instead of having it filled in the background, we're going to leave the fabric as the background. Okay, so I want to go ahead and I found a police shield online. I saved it as a PNG on my desktop, and now I'm going to bring it into svgcreator.com and turn it into an SVG, because an SVG will be so much better to work with in SewArt, and you don't have to do any of the color reductions or any of that stuff. So let's find this little thing. Forget what I called it. Oh, police shield. Imagine that. Okay. Your file is ready to convert. Convert your file. And I'm only showing you this because it takes so much more time to do the color reduction than it does to do this converting. And I haven't tried any other SVG converters online, so go ahead and leave me a comment if you use another service. This one's been working great for me, so I haven't felt the need to change, but I'm always open to different ideas and being able to turn around and share that with other people as well. Okay, so let's go to the open containing folder. Oops, I think I asked it to open the file. I didn't want to do that. I want to open the containing folder. And the containing folder is going to be my downloads, and that's from Mozilla. I'm not really sure what else. Oh, see, I don't want to open that. Okay. It's going to be called generated. We're going to send it to the desktop, and there might already be one there. Let's replace that because I think it was the last thing that I did. All right, let's get out of here. We should have our SVG now. Find generated. Beautiful. Click open. All right, so it came in really big, and that's awesome because digitizing big is fine. And because we're going to bring it into SewWhat Pro, well, I wasn't going to make it smaller, but I think I will actually, because in SewWhat Pro, it's going to change my hoop size if I bring it in too big. Okay, so it looks like it's not that much smoother than whenever I brought it in as a JPG and took the colors down, but I mean, it is a lot smoother. I don't have to do any editing like I was doing. So, don't disparage if you don't turn it into an SVG. All right, so from there, we're just going to go straight over to stitch image. We don't need to do anything fancy. We don't need to do any color changes. Excuse me. And then we're going to choose Applique center line, satin stitch. We want it to be around 40. That's going to be a pretty big fat one. And a length of 1 or 2. I'm going to go ahead and go with 1 since we're doing a patch. Oops, don't start it there. Clear those stitches. We want to start it on a flat spot. I know it in our brains, in our minds, it makes sense to start it at a point, but if we seed it at a flat spot in the drawing, and we have a perfect one right here, it's going to be able to join back up much better. Okay, if we do it up here, there's going to be a gap. Sometimes you get a gap at the end of your project between the beginning of your stitch and the end. It's because it doesn't have a flat spot to meet up. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on this. And that's all that we have to do in SewArt, okay? So let's choose File, Save As. And this is going to give us the option to save an image file. That always pops up when you choose Save As. Choose Cancel, and then Desktop. And the reason I do that is because I get to choose where I'm saving my embroidery file. So let's go Police, Badge, Bright. Well, no, I don't want to put Brighton on it until it's the final. Okay, Police Badge Applique. Click Save. Okay, so you have your police badge applique. This, if you don't want to add anything, you can go ahead and skip to the sew out. But I'm going to go into SewWhat Pro and add Brighton's name. Oh, also, probably should have told you, this one click is going to give you 3 steps. Okay, you're going to get your die line, which will be a running stitch. It's not going to show you there's 3 steps, but there is. You're going to get your die line, you're going to get your tack down, and then your final stitch. So whenever the die line prints out, you want it to print out on your, or sew out onto your stabilizer. And that's going to show you where to put your fabric, okay? So then you place your fabric over the die line, and then it gives you a tack down stitch, which in a satin stitch case, it's going to be a wide zigzag, and that's going to give it reinforcement to do this. Once your tack down is placed down, once it's sewn out, usually that's where you cut it out, but we're going to cut everything out down at the end. Sorry, cut it out at the end. But that's usually where you would cut out. And you can cut it out then if you want to, or you can cut out this shape on your cutting machine first, whatever you want to do. Okay, I'm going to do it at the end just because I am super lazy. All right, so let's go ahead and open our project in SewWhat Pro. Police badge applique, choose open, and it's going to give us our 3 steps. Our first step is our die line. It's just a regular running stitch. Okay. Our second stitch is going to be, you can't see it, it's going to be that tack down. And then the third and final stitch is going to be that beautiful satin stitch over it. Okay. So this is really fat. I don't think I need it to be this fat. In fact, it's fatter than I saved it as. Look at that. Let's go ahead and resize it really quick. Let's bring it down to 3.85. Oh, it's still too big on the height. Let's make that 3.85. Oh, I don't have my lock aspect ratio on. Oh no. Cancel all that. Undo. And now let's try that. Sorry about this, guys. Okay, choose lock aspect ratio. That's going to make it where both of these will change at the same time. And keep my project the same height and width. Then, you know, the same ratio, the same scale. All right, let's go from here to edit. Now, if you, like I said, if you just are done, you can go ahead and skip to the sew out. This is where we're going to file, merge, excuse me, and bring in a B, the letter B. I have it saved on my external hard drive. And embroidery, Planet Applique is my favorite font supplier. She's beautiful work. Okay, we are going to use the Western font because it's cool. Wait, do we have any police fonts? No. Okay, the Western font is cool though. It's my favorite B. And let's see, this B right here is 0.94 by 1.5. That's going to be pretty big, but we can go even bigger. Open. Oh, it's going to be so pretty. Look at that. Okay, so I think I'm just going to use felt. No, no, I don't want to use felt. That's a big lie. I will figure it out and I'll show you guys at the sew out, okay? So from here, we're just going to go to File, Save As, and we're going to save it as Police Badge, Brighton. And that way I'll know that this is the finished file. Okay, save. And then I'll see you guys over at my machine. Bye-bye.
Hi there. Okay, now I'm back over at my machine and I'm going to load up the design. And this is a Brother SE425, so this is how you do it if you have that machine. Put it up there and you have 4 steps. You're gonna have your die line, your tack down, your final satin stitch, and your lettering. Okay? And we are just gonna put that down and let it go. Okay, that's a little bit way bigger than I wanted it to be. So I'm going to go into my machine and adjust the size and I'll be right back. Okay, well, in reducing it on my machine, it didn't let me reduce it that much, but it's still a little bit smaller, which will be better for me. He's only 6, so he doesn't need a giant badge. But who knows? Maybe because he's 6, he does need a giant badge. So I'm just gonna put my scrap piece of denim. This is like stretch denim, probably got polyester and cotton in it. So it should be fine for ironing. I mean, I would hope these kind are, but let's go ahead and do our tack down now. Okay, so that's our tack down. And in any other patch, normally I would go ahead and let it do, oh no. Oh my gosh, look at that, you guys. It's all bowed out there, so I don't know how it's gonna do with the satin stitch there. It's like so much stuff going on. I think I'm gonna put an extra piece of stabilizer back here, just float it, just to be safe. Okay. So if this happens, it might make you want to give up, and you can start all over if you want. I am going to tape extra piece of stabilizer at the top and then tape at the bottom, but don't tape on the sides because the needle runs to the sides but not to the tops and bottoms. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we're a little bit more reinforced. Put that right back on there. Actually, we're not going to put that back on there. We are going to cut out this denim. And I would wait until the end to cut out at the die line for most other kind, but because this is denim, I want to just nip it in the bud and let the satin stitch catch all of the extra pieces here. Because there's so much fraying, I think cutting it later might actually give us worse fraying. But I could be wrong. In either case, you're gonna have to cut it, so I guess it doesn't really matter when you do it. That's gonna be a personal preference and probably change from project to project. If you have a cutting machine, cut this stuff out first. If you have a applique scissors, you're gonna be doing much, much happier time with all of this than I am. If you have a recommendation for applique scissors, I think I'm ready to bite the bullet and buy some. So if you have a recommendation, please leave it below in the comments. Or you can look for me on Facebook. Much easier to access on Facebook if you guys have questions and stuff like that. It's kind of hard for me to help through the comments on YouTube because they don't give me notifications when people have messaged me. So sometimes I don't see your message for weeks. And you're excited and want answers, and I feel really bad. So look for me on Facebook in the SewArt. I'm in both SewArt groups. So the SewArt for Beginners is my group, and then the other SewArt group is more technical and has people in there that have much more experience than I do. So okay, we're gonna put it back onto the thingy majigger. And we're gonna let it do its satin stitch. Now this might come out really choppy, but it might not. So I think I'm gonna add a piece of sulky Sylvie film over it. So you can get this at Joann's too. Pellon makes a version. Actually, I think this is the Pellon version. Sulky Sylvie is a little bit more thinner. The Pellon version's thick and it's nice. It's water soluble stabilizer, but because it's a film, we can just rip it off. We don't have to put it underwater. Okay, here we go. Okay guys, I'm being a little bit lazy and I just put yellow in my machine and left the dark blue bobbin on the bottom. And usually I don't like doing that with satin stitches, but I've been up really early. I'm just tired. So I'm gonna see if this works. Okay guys, it is all done with what we have to do on the machine. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and pull this film off. Well, let's take the whole thing off. Oh, looks like looks like what happened was the first stitch out that was too big, it got tangled, underneath the threads got tangled. So we'll just keep peeling it off. Oh, music, sorry. Sometimes YouTube won't let me upload a video if I have somebody's music in the background, and sometimes I just totally forget. Okay, so I'm gonna trim this up here, and you can see my cut job was absolutely terrible on the sides, which is again why I need some applique scissors. But I'm gonna do the Heatn'Bond Ultra on the back and then cut, because that's gonna melt and turn these into plastic basically, so I'll be able to cut along there. And then whenever I'm all done with the whole patch series, I'm gonna put fray check on everything, and then I'll be able to do an even closer cut around to make it look a little bit more professional. So here's this one for now. This was the one that's digitized to have fabric as the background instead of thread. So these go a whole lot faster, obviously. And either way, you're gonna need background. So it just depends on what kind of patch you're going for, okay? I think I have a couple more ways that I wanna try them in SewArt, but if you haven't already seen the previous one for the filled stitch, we did that one, okay? And so we did this one. This one is the applique one where we have the fabric on the back. Anyways, there's fabric under here, but it got completely covered with all the stitching, okay? So just those two ways, and I'll meet you guys over at the ironing board. Okay guys, I'm over here at my ironing board. I have my iron set to medium. I have my Heatn'Bond Ultrahold. Okay, it's the red package. If you want to be able to sew through these patches, use the purple package, but you're also going to need to use patch glue because that's not going to hold like this does. But if you use this, no sew, okay? Do not put this in your sewing machine, please. If you want to sew it onto the fabric that the patch is going onto, hand sew it, please. It's not too hard for your hand sew for hand sewing, but it gums up the machine and leaves residue and stuff like that, so we don't want any of that. So first I'm just going to cut out a piece of Ultrahold that's a square. Oops, dang it. Okay, and set all of this aside away from the heat. Okay, make sure that it covers your entire patch, and in this case mine does. Alright, so I'm going to flip my patch over, and look how nice that second piece was there to help hold up, because even though it got all crazy on the top, it's going to look really nice right there when we're all finished. Okay, but don't be like me. Use applique scissors, cut nicer, take your time. Okay, so I'm going to put this upside down. I'm going to place this bumpy side. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see. There we go. The bumpy side onto the back of the patch. I'm going to take my parchment paper and make a little sandwich. Okay? And that's because this glue on the Ultrahold is very strong, but it's really sticky too. And it'll get on your iron. And then everything that you iron after that is going to give you issues, because you're going to have glue on it. So, now we hold for 8 seconds. Okay. And then we pull this back. And I'm going to let it dry for a second, let it cool off for a second before I peel anything off. I'll be right back. Okay, so it's still a little warm, so I'm not going to peel the back off yet, but you can see here how good it looks. And let's go ahead and start cutting while it's on here. And yeah, I'll need to use the fray check for sure. And if you don't know what fray check is, it's this stuff right here. I've never opened mine. I got it for about $2 at Walmart, I think, or $3 at Joann's, because it wasn't at Walmart when we went to look for it. So I'm going to cut this out and be right back. Cutting it out with the paper on gives you just a little bit more stability. Sorry about my dog. She can be quiet all day long until I need her to be, and then she's all of a sudden the busiest dog in the world. She got things to do, people to see, places to go, mama to annoy. Okay, so not the best job in the world, but I have never claimed to be the professional. So, but it looks pretty good so far. And for a homemade one, I'm patting myself on the back. The fray check is going to go over this. It's a really like liquidy glue, and then it's going to dry and basically turn all of this into glue, so I can cut it even more without worrying about if I cut this. Because if I do cut that and the fray check's on it, it's no big deal. It's going to stay. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull our paper off. And there you go. It's so nice and shiny and ready for you to iron on, or ready for Brighton to iron on. Alrighty, see you guys soon. Bye-bye.